When it comes to superheroes, by far my favorite is Batman. He's cool, he's got money, he's got women, he's got cars, and he beats people up. He's not like a lot of these other nerdy superheroes. He's a cool dude. The Batman games, of course, that we've gotten over the years since the NES have been varying in quality, but the Batman Arkham franchise was definitely very well respected. We, of course, got the announcement of the Batman Arkham Trilogy coming to Nintendo Switch, consisting of Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. All games that I've played on multiple platforms and repurchased over and over again because I genuinely enjoy these games. So, was it worth the wait on the Nintendo Switch? How did these versions come out? Well, it depends. Depends on what game we're talking about, because there's a lot to discuss with the Batman Arkham Trilogy on the Nintendo Switch. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with Arkham Trilogy on the Switch. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to share the video around if you want to. I would appreciate it, but I can't really force you to do it. Without any further ado, let's talk about the Arkham Trilogy. So, right off the bat, we have something bad, and that is, once again, much like Metal Gear Solid, there's no launcher. All of the games download individually. I know it's a minor nitpick, but it's something that legitimately drives me insane. It's like, I don't want this taking up 3 spots on my Switch home screen. Just put in one thing, and then yes, I understand that you could buy the games individually, then just have it so that those games are what's accessible through the launcher, like the Halo Master Chief Collection. Very annoying stuff, but let's move on to the games themselves. I'm not necessarily going to be reviewing the games because these are all older games. I'll more so be focusing on how the Nintendo Switch version of these games plays. We'll start out with Arkham Asylum. Now, where am I going to put it on my good, bad, and ugly situation? I would put it in between bad and good. I wouldn't say it's the shining crown jewel of this compilation, but it's a very competent port of the game. Now, this game, of course, released many moons ago on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. This game consists of Batman bringing in Joker into Arkham Asylum. Joker takes over Arkham Asylum with Batman in it, and Batman basically has to defeat Joker and all of his minions that are also in Arkham Asylum. Now, people like Arkham Asylum a lot because this game plays kind of like a Metroidvania style game, especially more so than the other 2 games that we'll cover here because you are contained to Arkham Asylum. As you level up, you get more gadgets and you get access to different things that allow you to explore levels or parts of the levels as you're going through them that you weren't necessarily able to do before when you first passed through them. So I do like that aspect about it because I think the Metroidvania style is really fun. You know, it was kind of different at the time as well, and it's really done well in this sort of 3D game, whereas most Metroidvania games end up being like 2D games. Now, as far as the Nintendo Switch version of the game is concerned, I would say it's mostly solid. You know, the game definitely has a little bit of roughness to the visual style of the game and the frame rate, but that's more dependent on the original game itself. I still think that the game holds up well. The combat is still really fun, and for the most part, it's a pretty smooth experience. There's no real sort of frame rate issues in the game. Occasionally, you might get a few drops here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty solid. And I think that if this was my favorite Arkham game, that I would be a little bit more positive about it, but just for me, this game was always like good, but it never was like the crown jewel of the Arkham games for me. I definitely enjoyed Arkham City a bit more than I enjoyed Arkham Asylum, but for fans of Arkham Asylum, I think it's a pretty solid version. All of the DLC is also included, so there's a ton of content here that you can access, and it still holds up well gameplay wise. Just a little bit rough around the edges when it comes to the graphics, but like I said, I'm more so attributing that just to the game itself, more so than the Nintendo Switch version. Now we're going to talk about the ugly. And my biggest fears are confirmed because Arkham Knight was definitely the most interesting game of this trilogy because it was like, well, how is Arkham Knight going to run? That was a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One game that, you know, was pretty graphically impressive at the time. And holy hell. Okay, first and foremost, this game consists of Batman trying to take down Scarecrow. He's put some poison toxins into Arkham City, and Batman and his Batmobile have to put a stop to him. It's a good story. Now, Arkham Knight was actually my least favorite of all the Arkham games because I never really liked the Batmobile inclusion in the game. However, it's still a good game in and of itself. except for the Nintendo Switch version, because this is absolutely unplayable to me. This is almost levels of WWE 2K18 on the Nintendo Switch. You're looking at the gameplay footage here. None of this is doctored. None of this is edited for dramatic effect. This is literally how the game looks and runs. And it's disgusting. I have had frame rate drops to literally 0 when in the Batmobile. It's almost like I paused the game and then the game decided to just start going. The frame rate is wildly inconsistent. I don't think it's a capped frame rate so that they could try to get it as high as humanly possible, but you just did not do a good job with this game. Textures refuse to load sometimes. I don't know if that's just the game struggling to load them and eventually they'll load or not. Like, and the vehicular stuff, which is an emphasis of this game, is damn near unplayable because it's so choppy. Like, it's impossible, and it impacts the controls as well because everything feels severely delayed. When you start to turn the Batmobile, it doesn't really start to turn. You almost have to emphasize like doing it before you feel like you actually need to do it in order for it to feel smooth. The combat feels extremely janky with lots of slowdown as well. I can't believe that they delayed this game and like this was the best they could do with it, because this is unplayable garbage. This is one of the worst experiences I've had on the Nintendo Switch, and I don't even necessarily think like it's a hardware issue, like, because we've seen games that are graphically taxing runs consistently better than this game does. I get that it's more of an open world aesthetic and that could be the reason why, or maybe the engine or something to do with it, but this is horrible. This is absolutely disgusting. One of the worst things I've ever played on the Switch, especially considering that they delayed this trilogy, I'm guessing specifically for this game, because this game, it's horrible. I mean, just looking at the footage here, you can understand my frustration with this. Absolutely disgusting. It's the biggest file size out of all 3 of the games as well. So do not buy that. Do not, if you don't buy this is what we're getting to, folks. Do not buy the Arkham Trilogy. Just buy what you want to buy from it, and do not buy Arkham Knight. But like I said, there is good in this. There is good, and it brings a smile to my cold, dead heart. That's kind of ironic considering my heart problems this year. But this game, Arkham City, here we go. I don't know what was going. I don't know if 3 different teams were making these games, but Arkham City is the best looking, the best running, and the best playing game out of all of these. I can understand Arkham Knight, but Arkham Asylum, I felt like, should have been probably the best looking and best playing. But no, Arkham City, the bee's knees, folks. This is the good stuff. This is one of my favorite video games of all time. Joker is sick, Harley Quinn, you got Penguin in here as well. Awesome story, great narrative in the game, and of course this is more of a pseudo open world, much like Arkham Knight is, and good God, they nailed this game. The graphics look absolutely fantastic, still hold up really well. OLED mode looks phenomenal. Playing it in handheld mode on the OLED looks absolutely phenomenal. All the colors, all the lights, all the different effects, everything looks great. The combat itself is of course that tried and true combat, but it still holds up really well, especially when you start to unlock via different things via Wayne Tech, and everything runs and looks smooth. The frame rate is consistent throughout. There's minor graphical hiccups. I had one graphical hiccup where I came out of a building and a texture across the way didn't want to load in like a snappy amount. It took like 2 or 3 seconds or something like that. So that kind of took me out of it for a second. But those things are, you know, near and far between with this game. This game looks great, runs great, and plays great on the Nintendo Switch, which makes me happy. Because out of these games, this is by far the best game. And of course, much like Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum, has all the DLC consisting in it. There's actually like an exclusive Robert Pattinson suit that you can get. I think it's in Arkham Knight, actually. I'm not sure if it's in Arkham City or not, but that's a cool little thing. But all the content that you get in this game, and the fact that it runs, looks, and plays phenomenal, that really brought this collection sort of back to me, because honestly, this was an extremely mixed bag with lots of big highs and lots of lows. So what should you do? How should you go about this thing? You know, it's tough. If you own another platform, a PlayStation or an Xbox, I would just completely skip the Nintendo Switch version unless handheld mode is very important to you and you don't have something like a Steam Deck. Now, if you only own a Nintendo Switch, then you have to skip Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight is unplayable. They should refund people's money. Like, that's how bad this game is. It literally goes down to a 0 frame rate at times. It's unacceptable. There's absolutely no quality control with it. All of these games retail for $20 each, or you could buy the collection for $60 each, but there's really no sort of point in buying the collection, because as far as I know, you don't get anything additional that you wouldn't get buying these games individually, and it ends up being the same price. Arkham Asylum, it's a fun game to revisit for sure, but I'm not sure that the Switch version is really the way to go. Like, it's not a bad version of the game, and it could just be because this is an older game to begin with, but I just feel like something might have been like slightly off with it. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played Arkham Asylum, but I feel like Arkham Asylum is good enough. If you've never played it and you only own a Switch, you could check it out. Arkham City, buy it. 20 bucks, yes, you could buy it for like 5 or 10 on other platforms. I don't care. Especially if you have an OLED screen, folks. That game is going to pop, and it looks so good. It plays so good. There's not many games like it on the Switch. I love Spider-Man games on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. I love those Spider-Man games. I will still put Arkham City right up there with those Spider-Man games. Sure, you might have, you know, better graphics and, you know, this, that, and the other, but storyline wise, man, nothing touches these Arkham games, and the gameplay is still tried and true, fun beat 'em up style, and I put Arkham City right up there with the cream of the crop of superhero games, including games like Spider-Man. So Arkham City, definitely worth checking out. But those are just my thoughts on the situation. Maybe you feel a little bit differently. Let me know if you plan on picking this up or have already picked this up in the comments section down below. For the love of God, do not buy Arkham Knight. Like, just don't do it. It's ridiculous. There's no reason to buy it. It sucks. It's terrible, and everyone should be ashamed about it. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Like I said at the start, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. I'm Batman. Later.